At 4 o'clock, we got Idaho State, who went 5-7, traveling to UNLV, who went 11-3 last year. UNLV is favored by 24.5 points on the Mountain West Network. Hajj Malik Williams has gone 150 of 252, threw for 1,941 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Jaden Thomas had 164 carries for 918 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Ricky White III has 79 catches for 1,041 yards and 11 touchdowns. The only person that returns from that team, though, is Jaden Thomas. This is an extremely interesting UNLV team because if you remember last year, UNLV went 10-2 in the regular season. They went to the conference championship with a chance to maybe play their way into the college football playoff. It would have been a toss-up between you whether put in a 1-loss Army or a 2-loss UNLV, but I think UNLV probably gets that tiebreaker, and then they got their butts handed to them by Boise State. But UNLV was an extremely good team last year, but they lost their head coach in Barry Odom, who's now the head coach at Purdue. They bring in a really good head coach. I really like Dan Mullins, but a lot of that team isn't returning. I don't know if UNLV is going to have that same caliber of team that they did last year. They probably won't. And I think this is going to be a really interesting race in the Mountain West, right? Boise State should be the considerable favorite. When you think about teams historically that have pushed Boise State for that Mountain West crown, you got Fresno State, you got UNLV, you throw in San Diego State there, you've thrown in maybe San Jose State, legitimately push them. I think a lot of those teams are not going to be as great as they were in past years. So Boise State should have everything in front of them to make a conference championship and make that playoff run. I don't have them in my top 12. I don't think Boise State is going to be that representative from the group of 5. So I think it's going to be really interesting moving forward. Who competes? Who's that team in the Mountain West that's going to push Boise State? I think Boise State is a tough out-of-conference. I think USF is a formidable team that they could absolutely lose to in week 1. But not to mention they play Notre Dame out of conference. They would have to put up a respectable game there, and I think that the conference is going to be hard this year. I don't think this is going to be the Boise State team that runs through everyone, and I'm a little bit doubting them without Genty, right? But UNLV is such a solid team this year. I think they have a lot of pieces together. I just don't think they have the pieces to make that 10-2 run, right? That 9-3 run and get them to a conference championship. They are absolutely better than Idaho State, as favored by 24.5 points. Again, this isn't a great FCS team in Idaho State. This is a FCS team UNLV should theoretically run through. This is a great opener for UNLV to get their bearings about them, right? I like the Rebels here. I think the Rebels are a solid team, if not a team I think compete for that playoff spot. But I do think UNLV wins, and I do think they cover here.